Hey guys, Max here. Do you want to be successful in life? I mean true success, not just a tiny bit of success, but a huge, vast amount of success. Do you want to be successful? Well, here's a simple formula. Beyond order, rule 7. Let's go. Rule 7. Work as hard as you possibly can on at least one thing and see what happens. One thing. That's all we're asking for. One thing. You have to figure out what that is. All the other videos talk about finding that one shining star, that one north star that really keeps you going forward. You have to figure out what that is for you. It might be family. It might be career. It might be serving your fellow man. I think all three of those are kind of where they all come together into one thing. I don't know what it is though. You have to figure out what is your shining star. Because once you find that one thing and you latch onto it and invest all your being, every single ounce of energy you can give into that, that is when you will find either it's going to be successful, which is great, let's celebrate that, or it's not going to be successful. You need to pivot and choose something else, or find something else where you're going to have that success that you really want. And you have to define the success. So until you define the success, you can't have the success. But finding that one thing and working towards it with all of your might, all of your gusto, that's what we're talking about. And this is not to say that you can't have multiple things you're investing in, multiple things you're really going forward. But before you focus on three things, you need to focus on the first one. That first one could breed into more things. It could breed into more things. It could just be that one thing and you run with it as far as you can. But figuring out that one thing is really important. Lack of internal union also makes itself known in the increased suffering, magnification of anxiety, absence of motivation, and lack of pleasure that accompany indecision and uncertainty. Do you even know what you want to accomplish? Because if you don't, you're going to have so much uncertainty, it's going to paralyze you. Knowing what you want is how you get what you want. You cannot accomplish something you have not defined, so define it. You cannot want to accomplish a dozen things. Well, actually you can. You can want to accomplish a dozen things, but you have to start with the one thing, and that one thing could lead to 2, 3, and then maybe even a dozen. If you can accomplish a dozen things in your life, my goodness, you have a very productive life. I need your help. Help me. But figure out that one thing before you move on to the multitude of things. Because it's so easy to be, I want to be a jack of all trades. I want to have and do all these different things. But until you actually focus on one thing, you can't ever make it to the dozen. You have to start with the one. People who are aimless, who have no pleasure in life, they may have temporary hedonistic moment-to-moment pleasure with substances and women or whatever it may be, drugs. But having that long-term satisfaction over a lifetime, it's very difficult, it's very fleeting, but there's really a simple formula on how to do it. And that's finding that one thing, that meaning, that shining star, that North Star, and following it through. Not when the first speed bump comes, because the speed bump comes for everybody. The speed bumps always come for every single person, many speed bumps. It's persevering through those speed bumps and seeing it through until, the keyword, until you become successful. Until you hit that peak. Until you hit that spot. But until you hit that spot, you keep on going forward. Forget the dozen, focus on one thing at a time. Focus on the one thing, and then from that one thing, it can grow into 2, 3, and multiple things. But become proficient, put the foundation for that one thing, then you can begin other things. Always start with step 1, though. The social consequences are just as serious as the biological. A person who is not well put together overreacts to the slightest hint of frustration or failure. He cannot enter into productive negotiations, even with himself, because he cannot tolerate the uncertainty of discussing potential alternative futures. Have you ever met somebody who is a 2-year-old in a 30-year-old's body? How every single little thing, the person cutting them off, the Starbucks line being too long, the weather being too hot, the weather being too cold, it's like the tiniest little things set them off into a flurry of frustration and anger. And I've been there, believe me. I just look back on it now and think, my goodness, I used to let the weather, the music at the gym, the momentary pain of stubbing my toe take me off my route from where I was going that day. What? Seriously? Those tiny little things you're letting those tiny little things affect you drastically? Big issue there. And again, I would ask, I would, if people had the mind to do it, what are you focused on, and what's your meaning in life? What's your one thing you're going for right now? What do you want to accomplish in this life? I bet you most of the people are so vague. I want to be successful. I want to be better, nicer. All these stupid phrases that people use that don't mean anything. Until you actually define that, you're going to have no meaning. And if you have no meaning, no satisfaction. And having the satisfaction is really what life is all about. I mean, there are so many potential futures. They're literally infinite. There's infinite pathways you can take, which is overwhelming, which is why you need to break it down on who are you not, figure out who you are, and pursue that. And then those pathways become a lot, maybe a few, and choose which one's the best, or choose which ones you think is the best, and see it through. And also, this is why we need to make men strong again. Frustration, failure, and uncertainty are all part of normal life. The only way to become strong and resilient is by acting the way you should. There's nobody coming to save you. So if you want to become a stronger person, well, when you're in a situation where you have the opportunity to be a little weenie or to be stronger, instead of choosing the former, choose the latter. Choose, how would someone in this instance who is strong act? Use that for every part of your life. How would someone who is generous act? How is someone who is compassionate, loving, a multitude of all these really good things that you want to be, strong, obviously, how would that person act? It's good to have an ideal. It's good to have an ideal. So figure out who the ideal is, or the ideal situation, and go from there. Act in that way. How would this person act? How would a strong person act in this situation? And then do that. Don't think about it. Just do it. Don't even remember how you used to be weak, how you used to be a little weenie, feeble-minded person. Become resilient, become strong. We need men who are really strong because they keep the culture and keep everything moving forward. I want to remind you guys to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. The question of the day is, what gives you most anxiety in life, about the future, whatever it may be? My answer is not fulfilling my full potential on Earth. It literally gives me goosebumps and chills down my spine when I think about if I continue down a path of not pursuing what I need to pursue, not being who I should be for me, myself, my partner, my family, my community. If I keep on going down that wrong path, my life will be in shambles. So it motivates me. That negativity motivates me to become a better person. Negativity is a really good motivating tool to an extent. Now, of course, the good things are not motivating me, but when I think about who I could be making these bad decisions, yeah, no thank you. Aim, point. All this is part of maturation and discipline, and something to be properly valued. If you aim at nothing, you become plagued by everything. If you aim at nothing, you have nowhere to go, nothing to do, and nothing of high value in your life, as value requires the ranking of options and sacrifice of the lower to the higher. You gotta make a decision. What do you value most in life? Choose wisely, and choose and pursue it. Avoid becoming a half dozen flimsy things. Become one person, one strong, great person who focuses on one thing, and that gives that value. It has to be a hierarchy. What's the most valuable thing between what's not valuable? Not valuable is watching television in my life. Well, although I really want to watch television sometimes, it's very, very well on the list. High is developing personally, watching videos, reading, becoming a better person as much as I can. I'm not perfect by any means, but striving towards that is so much more important than the momentary pleasures that, again, try to plague me every day. The word obsession and having obsessions has been really downgraded and really almost it's culturally bad to be obsessed with something. But the reality is, what if you're obsessed with alleviating poverty? What if you're obsessed with becoming a better person, becoming a better partner, a better community member, a better citizen of your country? That is a good thing to be obsessed with. It's all a matter of what are the most valuable things in life. If you're obsessed with the newest TV show, well, I would say that's not as important as the newest thing to be working on yourself internally. But that's a hierarchy of values. You have to figure out what's more important. So it's okay to be obsessed. Just become obsessed with the good things in life, the things that are going to promote welfare and the better of yourself, your family, and society, and pursue that relentlessly. Be obsessed and go for it. If you work as hard as you can on one thing, you will change. You will start to also become one thing, instead of the clamoring multitude you once were. Don't become a half dozen or a dozen mediocre people, mediocre faces you put on. Become one resilient, strong individual that can take on life as it comes. Nobody wants weak people. Nobody wants people who are halfway in. You have to be 100% in or don't be in at all. Woo! Well, that's the formula of how to be successful. Focus on your North Star, your shining star. Find out what that is. Once you have it, pursue it no matter what. No matter what is happening, pursue it with everything in you to the nth degree. Yes, it sucks at times. Yes, it hurts. Yes, you're going to be tired. Yes, you're going to be exhausted from waking up and doing this over and over again. But eventually, the process becomes very enjoyable. It's not fun to do something once that sucks. But throughout time, as you do something that's unenjoyable over and over and over again, you become, shall we say, stronger to it. It's not quite as difficult anymore, and you have to keep on figuring out what that next North Star is. Figure out what that North Star is, make it very, very, very difficult, and pursue it every single day. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next roll.